Hey, Hashmaster Users here for a video game review, and boy is this a game I have memories of. In fact, this might be one of the earliest games I can remember seeing. And oh boy, DK64. Boy, I've known about this game since I was 3 and 4. In fact, I watched my cousins play on it a lot on their N64 along with Super Mario 64. What I remember from my early days of being exposed to video games was the slide in Super Mario 64 and the battle mode in DK64. So, every time I would be at my cousin's or every time I would see a Nintendo 64, I would always be interested to see if Donkey Kong 64 was there. Especially when I later found out that the original arcade Donkey Kong game is in it, so I got even more excited. And then, eventually, the game comes out on the Virtual Console, and I finally decide now's the time to finally get it for myself. And boy did I struggle with it. I clearly struggled with the controls and everything, the layouts and that, when I first started playing it on the Wii U. So what I did was I just stopped playing by that point, and I just found other things to give a go at. Plus, I think I was at that point where I was really focusing more on the Nintendo 3DS. But eventually, I would say about, I'm not sure when, but sometime either 2020 or 2021, I decided to head back to Donkey Kong 64. And I restarted the game, so because I felt like a fresh start would be helpful. And I started to have an easier time playing it. And yep, bet you're wondering why that is. And I'll get to that in a second. So the basic premise is that King K. Rool has returned to Donkey Kong Island and has kidnapped all of DK's friends and stealing all these golden bananas. So it's up to Donkey Kong to rescue the remaining 4 Kongs, which are Diddy and newcomers Lanky, Tiny, and Chunky, with help of assistance from Cranky, Funky, Candy, and his animal buddies Squawks, Ramby, and On Guard. So, yeah, that's the basic premise, which is what you really need in this. So for being DK's the only Donkey Kong game to be fully in 3D, it basically is Banjo-Kazooie, but, it's its own thing and, overcrowded. In fact, that's the one thing everyone either can praise it or mostly critique it, is the fact there's too many collectibles. And, oh my gosh, yeah, you have to admit, there's 201 golden bananas. There's about 20 golden fairies. I think about 60 banana medals. You got instruments, weapons, the Nintendo coin, the Rareware coin, the battle crowns, the color-coded bananas for each Kong. Yeah, there's a lot of things to collect. But that's sort of what makes this game well known. What can help in this game is, at the very least, the gameplay is well done and it's rewarding. And you know what? There is a satisfaction with this. I don't know why, but Rare had a way of always, even for their long games, they always had a way of making it flow very natural. And I think what helps is the fact that you don't spend that much time on one specific mode. In fact, every level shakes things up differently. And though it is difficult to understand a few of the gameplay configurations every time you switch, they do eventually get brought back. In fact, the final level of the game is you incorporating all the skills you've learned at that point to complete the final level and final boss, which is kind of cool. So yeah, that does help. But yeah, the overabundance is both a pro and a con. Throw in the fact the instruments and the guns. Now, obviously, excluding I'm not going to be too biased over the guns. In fact, the peanut pop gun Diddy uses has become part of his own character, but including his rocket jetpack as well. But yeah, it does feel weird. It's obviously Rare just capitalizing on the success they have of GoldenEye, but it still works out well. And as I said, I really do enjoy the multiplayer deathmatch stuff. But the instruments, not really. Again, this did incorporate itself into the, create staples in the series. I mean, you know, okay, Diddy did do a bit of well, okay, Donkey Kong Lay used the bongos a few times in Smash Bros. And of course the Donkey Konga series, so it's not too bad. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the music instruments. In terms of the Kongs, each of them has shown up every now and then, but Chunky, outside of I think a sticker and brawl, has rarely shown up. I'm being honest, he has never, he has not shown up in a physical appearance since this one game. Look, come on, Nintendo, just give me an appearance in, I don't know, maybe the next Mario Kart game, have a cameo of him, I don't know, maybe in a factory level, you know, signify where you unlock him. So yeah, and yeah, obviously there are a bunch of glitches and bugs in this. I mean, yeah, and of course we all know the infamous game-breaking bug that caused the game to be shipped off with the expansion pack. But you know, there are other bugs that show up every now and then. Thankfully, on my recent playthrough on the Wii U, it hasn't been that bad. Though I have heard some people say that the Wii U version is the worst, but honestly, I don't really. The Wii U Virtual Console version is the worst, but honestly, I can't really say that. But what does work in this, and you know what, there is a lot of things. Obviously, the music. I mean, Grant Kirkhope did an amazing job on this. On the score. It's absolutely beautiful. It's absolutely stupendous. If you're a fan of his work, you'll love it. I gotta give credit to the various level designs. I mean, yeah, you've got the previous staples in the Donkey Kong Country series, like you got your jungle levels, your desert levels, you got your swamp levels and underwater levels, but you know, they mix things up a bit as well. I mean, as I said, the forest level is actually incorporates a day-night cycle, which is pretty cool. Frantic Factory is unique to the series in general. In fact, it's probably my favorite level in the game. And even some of the other ones, like I'm trying to think. Oh, the ghost level take place in a haunted castle. It's very different compared to everywhere else, and that. So, yeah, what helps is that these levels are fairly unique. Some do stand out more than others, but you know, overall, I love each and every one of them for their varied design. As I said, I give credit to the staples, the Korean staples in the series, and the multiplayer mode. Obviously, one of my favorite highlights is the Donkey Kong arcade game and the jetpack, and where it was Rare's original first ever game, jetpack appearing in this. I love it, and those will always be some of the things I come back to with this game, just to play those on it. Absolutely perfect. The final boss is one of the best final bosses in, I would say, not just the series, but close to being one of the best final bosses in video games in general. I really mean it. The final battle against King K. Rool is great. Play it yourself and you'll see why, both from the charm department and how well it incorporates all the characters. And then there's the humor. Oh my gosh, this game can be absolutely hilarious at times. I mean, the boss fight in the haunted castle is just absolutely hilarious, and what your opponent is. K. Rool's minions have their funny moments, and you know, you've got the classic, the great idol animations and Cranky's snarky remarks. Yeah, there's some really funny moments, and even some cringy funny moments, like the whole thing with Candy Kong. Oh my gosh. And you know, although I guess I should talk about the DK rap. I mean, yes, it's cheesy. Yes, it's not perfect. But honestly, I just don't mind. I kind of like it for what it is. And I think that's what everyone thinks about it. It's not a good song, but you know what? You can't help put a smile on your face. Though I think Nintendo wishes that Rare didn't have "and the hell" line in one verse, but you know, can't help it. So what I'm going to give us an 8 out of 10 hat stars. Thankfully, I finally completed this game. That's been something on my list of games to complete in forever. Like I said, I first was introduced to this game when I was 3 and 4. So, thankfully, it's off my list. So what's next for my reviews? Actually, I'm not entirely sure. I think, well, in terms of movie reviews, in terms of new releases, it will be an upcoming movie that's based on a video game, and I think you can guess what it is. Though it's interesting that I've never played a game in the series, but I do know the basic feel of it. And then, you know, there's probably a few other things I can pull out of my collection, and I probably think that's, you know, worth reviewing. But in the meantime, this is Hasman This is Hassan from Hassaries out, and I'll see you for my next video. Ciao.